Hi, this is Doug Marshall of Marshall Valissis. Are you thinking about selling your business in 2023? Not sure where to start? Recently, I had the chance to catch up with Ryan Hemmert, business broker with Washington Business Brokers, and he gives some insights into what you need to know before you start the process.
Yeah, selling a business is a process, right? It's going to take
Mhm,
months.
mhm,
The shortest time from start to closing that I've had is 4 months last year. The longest was 12. So we're looking at least a 3 to 4 month process, and that requires commitment, right? Because there are going to be requests on the business owner. So it's work, right, to sell a business. So that's part of it. And I think the other big thing I'd say is a lot of business owners, a big part of their identity is wrapped up in being a business owner in the community, right? Both with their
mhm,
employees, perhaps in their family, and just in their relationships. That's how a lot of business owners self-identify. And you have to be
mhm,
prepared to, you have to be excited about what's next in your life, either to spend more time with
mhm.
your family or travel or whatever it may be. But that can be oftentimes the biggest inhibitor from a business owner moving forward.
Okay. How much time do you spend talking about that with owners?
Fair amount, a fair amount. I tell people, I use a slot machine analogy, and I say
Mhm,
that three dials have to be in alignment, right, for us to get a maximum value for your business and a sale, right? You
mhm,
personally have to be committed to the business, like to the sale process itself, and moving forward there, and what that entails. The business has to be ready for the sale process, and we can get more into that, like what I mean by that. And the third is the market has to be receptive to your particular business, right, in the industry. And
mhm,
so, trying to sell a restaurant, for example, in April of 2020 would be a non-starter, right? And so
mhm.
there's a time and a place for certain industries, and you need to be aware of that timing, which is a whole different thing from what's going on with you personally in the business itself.
Mhm. So next in this post, you bring up a kind of a tricky piece of the puzzle, and that is you really want to keep the intent that the owner wants to keep their intent to sell confidential from both employees and suppliers. Expand on that.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, the employee one is key, and some owners struggle with this, right? Because they see their
Yeah.
employees they see their employees as family, of course. And what I'd say here is that, from a buyer's perspective, if a business has lost key employees, that's a lot of talent and knowledge that's walked out the door, right? And in addition to the business owner being gone, right? So from a buyer's perspective, they're even more reliant upon key employees. So it really raises red flags and risks from both a buyer and like lending perspective. And then for suppliers, I would also add in competitors. I've had business owners start down the sale process on their own, and just call up other owners in their space that they know in the Seattle business community and
Hmm.
say, "Hey, Doug, I'm thinking about selling my business. Would you be interested in buying it?" And what you've just done there is tipped off an employer, right? I had
Hmm.
a competitor in that space that I followed up with last year, told me that they poached one of their employees, right? Like a crew leader
Hmm.
from that business. And so it can just be a can of worms. So you have to tread very, very cautiously with bringing anybody into that very close circle about your plans.
Hmm. Yeah, and once the cat's out of the bag, it's a little bit too late, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, another point that you make is, and this is really, you make this in the point of a question. You say, next, are you working in your business or on your business? Oh, no, no. Let me back up. I skipped the beat. You said, third, take a close look at your business, about what you think needs to be improved before selling. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So, one of the things I probe any owner on is, okay, you're just coming into your business. Like, how would you grow it? Right. Like, okay, Doug,
Hmm.
I'm going to buy out your firm for $5 million. Great. Like all of a sudden I have the existing cost structure you do. On top of that, though, I have debt coverage, right? From the acquisition itself. And so from a buyer's perspective, their mind's going to immediately go to growth levers. And so where I probe any owner on is, how would you grow your business? And from a buyer's perspective, if you tell me five of those things to grow your firm and you haven't acted on any of those, or they're really outdated growth levers,
Hmm.
it can sometimes raise more questions than really like satisfy considerations on a buyer's mind.
Yeah, no, no, no. I hear that a lot. And, I don't even know enough about buying and selling a business to even be dangerous. but I'm very curious about this process. So now to the other thing that I skipped ahead of a little bit too far in advance. So, you asked the question next, are you working in your business or on your business? Let's close out with those thoughts. And then what I also am going to do is I'm going to make sure that people have in the post for this, the link to this particular blog post, because I think it's so helpful.
Okay. Yeah, lots of thoughts on in versus on your business. For example, if you have crew leaders under you, and I had one owner, he wanted to do all the job estimates for his business, and he didn't trust his crew leaders, some of whom had 20 years of experience to do an estimate for work, right? And so in that case, he saw it as a big part of his role to go out to people's homes in the Seattle community and provide an estimate for services. And it's like, in that case, you've made every job, like every piece of new business for the business go through him in that case. And so that would be a great example of working in your business and not on your business, right? Whereas a much better use of his time would have been thinking about growth levers, looking for a crew leader in South Seattle so he could expand there, and perhaps finding a yard, right, where he could base a couple of trucks, etc. Because he's already got the SEO and online ranking and other things, right, to get jobs. He's actively turning down jobs outside of a 10-mile radius of his location. So that would be an example of on versus in, but there's lots of others. A big one is just from your time standpoint. I had another owner last year that told me she loved to manage QuickBooks and to basically do all the bookkeeping for her business because she felt like that helped her keep a good handle on the business. And I was thinking, as she said that, this is such a smart person who's so plugged in the business community, and the fact that she's holed up in this cubicle, in the business, doing QuickBooks and categorizing invoices, like it just frankly wasn't the best use of her time. And sometimes I wish I could just get people to look at their role from an outsider's perspective, but people are attracted to different parts of managing a business for different reasons, and sometimes it doesn't become apparent until the sale process that they've been working in the business and not on it.
Yeah, it's hard to let go. It's very hard to let go. Hey, bonus question real quickly. How are you feeling about 2023 as far as business owners and their opportunity to make that transition from owner to I used to be an owner?
Yep. Yeah. So Q4 data from the International Business Broker Association. So Q4 data, there were about 15% less businesses that went to market in Q4, right? Year over year. And so in general, like it's too early for quarterly data for Q1 of this year. It wouldn't surprise me if we finish flat, like from a transaction standpoint, right? Our valuation is going to be down a little bit in a higher interest rate environment. Yes. Are there still going to be tens of thousands of great businesses that sell, many of them in the Northwest? Absolutely, right? And I wish people could see my inbox or respond to the number of calls that come in, right? About, there are still buyers looking for great businesses. I think the key is it has to be priced appropriately and defensible. And there are many of those businesses that are out there.
Great thoughts. Well, that's it. And I'll let you get back to your inbox. Hopefully we can get together in person in the near future. And thank you again for taking the time, imparting these pieces of knowledge that you have. And then I will then make sure, of course, that the link to this particular piece is online, and hopefully that will be helpful to people. Really appreciate it, Ryan. Have a great day.
Sounds good. You as well, Doug. Thank you.
Bye now.